Did you know jump rope burns 300 calories in 15 minutes? Running a mile and walking a mile burn about 100 calories per mile. That could probably take you less than 15 minutes if you're in good shape. Jump rope, I mean, it's a lot to do though. I've only jump rope 15 minutes only a few times. But there's no reason why you can't do it for, 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm a few days out of doing leg day, so my legs are pretty sore. When you're doing this stretch, you want to try to take your elbow, stretch your lat, and point it. So I have a greater range of motion on this side than I do this side. One thing I've been trying to do, I've been trying to squat all the way down. So check this out. So this is a 90-90. You want to be able to switch between the different positions without getting up or without touching your hands to the ground. So we're going to pretend that this is my water bottle. Work on these hip flexors. This will humble you. Try it. I would prefer to hang on to something, but we're going to get it done. So flexibility is what you can do like passively, like where I'm really pushing myself and I'm just getting into that range of motion. But mobility is being able to control and move it under the power of your muscles, right? What can that joint do? What's that range of motion? So one thing I always do is just see how high I can lift my leg, right? Not swinging it, right? That's how much flexibility I have. But how mobile am I? All right, starts to get a little tired right there. So I promise you, do a set, do 10 this way, 10 this way, 10 backwards, and do 3 sets of those if you want to increase your mobility over time. Of course, stretching helps too, but you need to strengthen these muscles, and it's going to help you in your other lifts, right? Because these are stabilizers. So it's going to help you whenever you do other stuff. Now, when I do that, I kind of hop my leg up, but it's better if I try to keep my hips, square for as much as possible, so I'm not like doing like that. I'm really trying to control it with my hips stacked. Right, then it really targets those muscles there. Now I'm gonna go backwards. And same thing. I don't want to lean over and do a Romanian deadlift. I want to try to keep my hips stacked and just let this leg go straight back. Now, it's good to see where you're at as far as, your hip mobility, right? You wanna move it around. Like if you have any crepitus in your joints where it feels like there's a rough spot, then just take a few seconds and roll out your hips. Once you have that, you want to open your legs at a pretty wide stance. That's going to be wider than your shoulders. All right, so here's my shoulder width. I'm outside of that. Now, you want to have your knee go directly over your toe. Whichever way you push it, whenever you're doing squats or whatever you're doing, when you're doing knees over toes, you want your knees to go right over your toes. You don't want it to be sideways. Now, there's some sport specific areas when you're going to get like that. But in general, when you're just practicing these movements, you want to try to keep things in line. All right. So with this in line, I'm going to go down as far as I can go right here. So a lot of times you'll see people do it and they only go down this far, right? But you want to work on your ankle flexibility, but you can do that separately. All right. So I get down to the bottom of this rep. I let this foot pop up so I can get almost to the ground. All right. Now we're going to curl this foot on the ground and just slide right over. Right? If your range of motion is right here, then that's okay. You just slide back. You work with what you got, because you being strong in these and like the extremities of that range of motion, that's what's going to help. I don't have a mic on. They probably can't even hear me. Anyway, we're going to run with it. You can hear me. Yeah, you want to get stronger at that range of motion. So you do what you can. If you can't get down as far as I can go, that's okay. You do what you can do. And if you're just sitting at home watching this, come on now. If you're working from home, join me, right? Now let's hit these quads a little bit. Now this really opens up this hip flexor. Like I said, I did leg day a few days ago, so I'm pretty sore. And I'm really feeling that stretch right here. If you can't get into this range of motion, then you do what you can, okay? Another thing that you can do, if there was like a block right here, or without the block, right? You do like that. If you don't have this range of motion, then back up to a chair or something and put your leg up and then just go down, right? Remember to keep your knee going right over your toes. See that ankle mobility? You got to work on those. You can take a resistance band and put it around your ankle and do like this, have it pulling this way, and that will help increase that range of motion right there. And then another thing you can do is just manipulating it, right? Just holding your foot, holding it this way. It's probably better if you're standing on something and you can push it to the ground like that, because you also want to stress this muscle too. Do the other leg real quick.
And remember, when you're stretching like this, when you're pushing your range of motion, you have to relax, right? You have to relax. You have to breathe. There's these sensors in your muscles called the Golgi tendon body something sensor, right? But it's like a cluster of like nerve cells. It's a big nerve, and it can feel tension in your muscles, right? And so when you try to get into a stretch position like this, as you hold on to it, then the body is not like, oh, let me tighten up this muscle so that it doesn't, pull off of the bone. It eventually relaxes and it's realized that it can give a little bit. So it takes some time. So do a few seconds, or do a few sessions of 30 seconds each. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to do 3 to 5 minutes. Hold it for 30 seconds, and and just increase that over time. If you can accumulate 5 minutes throughout the whole week, that's going to increase your range of motion week on week on week. But you have to keep working on it. So one of the things I've been working on over the past couple of months is getting my split back. So that's that side. Now, another way to increase my strength, see if I can do it. Okay. Now, see if I can do it on this side. Now, what I'm doing is I'm squeezing this muscle, like I'm trying to close my legs, and I'm kicking this one out. But you have to get to those extended range of motion and contract. So you'll notice, like if I do this, if I get down to the bottom of this range of motion and then I squeeze this, so I'm squeezing in. Now, once I relax, I can get a little bit further. Hold on, I just gotta breathe. When I was younger, I was a kid, I could do all the way down. I could jump down and do it. As I got older, I started hanging out with people that didn't value fitness, people that wanted to party all the time, people that didn't really take care of themselves, and I sort of fell into that, that crowd, hanging out with people and hanging out with them after school and stuff like that. But at a certain point, I realized that, like you could see the older people, right, that I would work with when I used to paint water tanks, lay water lines, build bridges. I used to work at, my stepdad owns a construction company, and I would see the guys. They got leathery skin, they got diabetes, got high blood pressure, they're depressed, they're spending all their money the weekend they get paid and their per diem, having to borrow money from the next week, living unsustainably, drinking too much, running through women. And I realized, like, yo, I don't want to be like this, right? I want to take care of myself, and I want to take care of my body. I want to honor the women that I'm with, and do better. I mean, it took me a little while to catch up to that, and start living up to it. But I am now, and I do right. But anyway, if you realize that you're moving, if you're on a path that's unsustainable, you're the only person that's holding you back. So you got to change it. Anyway, now I feel pretty good. And let's do the upper body. Now, when you're doing the stuff with your shoulders, you want to make sure that you really work out your shoulders. You get them warmed up. The point of a warm up is to get the blood flowing and increase the body's temperature, core temperature, and get blood flow to the muscles, lubricate the joints. So don't skip your warm ups, especially if you're doing hard stuff like I'm going to be doing. It makes it even more important. Now, how to do this? You start from the front. Arm goes up at the very top. Down, you twist this arm around, right? You see how my thumb is going towards you now? Starts thumb going backwards. I flip this thumb around, then it goes down. When you're doing that, you're trying to make that arm go right up and down. Shoot. See, this one's tighter, right? We all have got things that we're working through, injuries and stuff. Now, it's another good thing, especially if you're having any kind of tightness in your back. It's called the cat cow. So I usually do at least 3, but typically about 7 reps, just back and forth. And I know sometimes, like if I feel like I have a sensitive nerve or something in my back, if I've been sitting slouching or something, I can do that and it feels like it kind of realigns my back. And this is another one. You just pull and you hold your knees to your chest. And then second one is you bring your knee up like that and you come towards your elbow. All right. Let's go to the track. I'm gonna grab some water. We can jog a little bit, hit the field, see what the sprint feels like. Put the parachute on, go do some stadiums. Now, I've been trying to rehabilitate my Achilles tendon since the last time I was out here sprinting. And so it's been like 2.5 months, going on 3 months now that I've been dealing with this. And a couple weeks ago, I started really getting serious about my training and trying to rehab it and looking up videos. So one of the hardest things that you can do for your Achilles is a single leg bounce, a hop. So my left side is good. So I'm gonna continue to warm up my right side. I'm not gonna do it yet because I've noticed the more I warm up, stretch it out and stuff, the better it does. Oh, and one of the things I've been doing to strengthen, watching videos, and the guy said you want to stimulate the growth of the tendon. You want to put it under load and go up like this. So I'll put the heavy weight on my back and it's just hold myself up and try to hold it to a 30 count. I still do calf raises where I do the full range of motion. I go all the way down, standing on something, I go back up, but I hold the standing position, and I've been using more and more weight. Yeah, it's still a little sore, so we ain't gonna do that too much. All right.